Oh, Pearson gets it in the 95 of Folks. Here comes the caution.
Flag is dropped here at Daytona, and away we go for the first time. Nicholas Morcel, Sean.
Looks like most get through unscathed. Look at that, there's Reed Gibson. A big move at the inside line of Dom's, possibly a little bit of contact.
Up now as we've got three wide action going through turns 1 and 2.
And they're underway. Eric Hahn takes a nice jump. Wilson hasn't let him go very far.
Go out here for Circuit Spa Francorchamps. Alex Johnson's off to a brilliant start there.
Just how oddly shaped this one is. We saw in the background Eric Hahn go for a bit of a swing, and he's gone and he's over.
New stuff. Cody Graham's the one-on-one up into second place. Alex Johnson 6/10 the lead at the moment.
They're dicey up front. There's Andrew Kessel, Justin Sang.
They are ready to go. The lights are out, and away we go for the very first time here at Okayama International Circuit. Finley Fitzsimmons.
Good evening, race fans, and welcome back to the League Zero Racing Series, the premier Formula iRacing League. We've got open wheel Super Formula cars, and it's going to be a good one. As always, I'm your host, James Eastbury, the Action 1080p, 60 frames a second, on behalf of Team Goon Squad Broadcasting, as well as LeagueZero.net. It is the Japanese Grand Prix Round 3, as it looks like qualifying just getting wrapped up, drivers getting out onto the field. And let's see what the grid will be here today. Starting on pole, we've got Jaden Calloway. Ray Aguilar starting second. AJ Brenner starting third. Stephen Lakota starts fourth. Nick Peterson starting fifth. Shazi Zuhair starting sixth. Ryan Tebow starts seventh. Carl Hartwell starting eighth. Christian Gritzko starting ninth. Antonio Bianchi starting 10th. Gareth McAllister, the world-famous Australian, starting 11th. Andrew Neri starting 12th. Let's cycle it on back to Leo Delma starting 13th. Willie Morris starts 14th. David Izey. Let me double check that one. Yep, David Izey will be starting 15th. Devin Hughes starts 16th. Eric Fox starting 17th. Xavier Zanave, the Flying Frenchman, starts 18th. Chase Meyer starting 20th. And Nathan Anam will start 20th and round out the grid here today. Let us know where you're from, who you're cheering on. Drivers will frequently have the broadcast pulled up on a separate device. If not, they just about always go back and watch this race over. We've got 007 Mech. We've got Andrew Neri, who's in the car but still spectating, so that's pretty impressive. Jay Valvano cheering on the 8th place driver, Carl Hartwell. Dylan Waldron cheering on the number 7 machine. Not quite sure who the number 7, that might be Ryan Tebow starting 7th? Or maybe I'm just losing my mind up here in the booth. We'll have to check on that, but here we go. We've got Nick Beaver, a longtime friend of Team Goon Squad. He's cheering on Eric Fox, aka Urko. As the lights go off and we are underway here. Jaden Calloway is going to lead the field into turn 1. Ray Aguilar in second. AJ Brenner rounding out the top 3. It's a very busy mid-pack as we watch drivers 2, 3 wide here at Motegi. Oh, and a huge collision. Antonio Bianchi, I believe, was involved in that. Oh, yeah, and that's Gareth McAllister, who may have given him a little bit of help here. Antonio Bianchi, Gareth McAllister, Devin Hughes, Eric Fox off track. Let's check in on Fox. How damaged is that machine? Looks to be salvageable, but let's see. I think if I spotted that right, I think Bianchi might have pulled out in front of McAllister there. And then parts go flying here at Motegi. We got the Tube Surfer 01. That's a spectacular name, cheering on Eric Fox. So for the fans, it looks like Fox is able to rejoin here. His friend and teammate Stephen Lakota, also known in other circles as Simply Steve, he's running 5th in that 32 machine. Let's get the intervals pulled up here on the broadcast as well so you can see where your favorite driver is. And already, it's going to be a pretty wild night here as we watch Calloway getting things started. Fox catching up to the back of McAllister. We go a little bit further ahead. We got a pretty heated battle for 10th. Leo Dalmas, Shazi Zuhair, David Iizzi, all running 10th, 11th, 12th, separated by about a quarter of a second. Willie Morris, Antonio Bianchi have come down pit road. I believe Devin Hughes has taken a tow back to pit road, and Antonio Bianchi did as well. He tried to get that machine fired up and then has to call it quits. Now, Zuhair was involved in an incident at one point as well. That number 10 machine, he's down 5 spots from where he started. The fans are asking if it was a late block or didn't see him. I'm not sure if, or really who, fault could be assigned to there in that incident between McAllister and Bianchi. Now, McAllister's still out on track, but missing the front wing. And it looked like he was very briefly catching up to Eric Fox. So I'm not sure if Fox has some sort of issues as well. Not seeing any noticeable damage on the 33 machine, but talking to Fox before tonight's broadcast, he wasn't super comfortable at the track. Oh, Leo Dalmas pitches it off track into the gravel. He's going to lose spot to Xavier Zanave. Jace Meyer falling back to 14th as he rejoins the racing surface. Let's check back in. Jaden Calloway, the race leader, sets another fast lap of this sprint race, a 131.15. You can see Ray Aguilar, AJ Brenner not too far behind here. Aguilar about a second back from Callaway. Brenner about 9/10 back from Aguilar. So Brenner still very much in the mix here. Also have a battle for 4th underway, where Nick Peterson has Steven Lakota, and I can also see a Christian Gritzko's number 91 machine in the frame. Oh, here we go. Lakota looking for a line. Peterson goes defensive, and that number 24 machine, loving the new paint out of Peterson this year. And look at the big send there from Lakota up the inside line of Peterson. That's going to give Gritzko a chance to interject himself in the party as Peterson holds on to the 4th place spot, keeping Lakota at bay. Gritzko looking for any opening he can find here in that 91 machine. You see drivers using the push to pass, and we briefly go 3 wide. A little bit of contact there between Lakota and Gritzko. So Lakota able to work his way up. Gritzko following suit. Peterson gets shuffled back to 6th. And we have a crash report where Willie Morris has an off-track excursion. I believe he was by himself in the 46, and he takes a tow, so he'll be done and out of this sprint race. Let's see what happened to Willie. You see a big lock up there, spins it around, and then just says, you know what? Think I'd like to go home now, as Morris takes the tow back to pit road. On board with Nick Peterson, he's 3/10 off the back of Gritzko in the battle for 5th. Now in this sprint race, we will set the grid for the feature from the results of this race. And keep an eye out, Ray Aguilar just set the fastest lap of the race on 130.79. They're running a very similar pace here as Callaway, your race leader. AJ Brenner has fallen off the pace slightly. He clicked off on 132.1 his last time by. So we've whittled it down to 15 drivers out on track after our 20 entries. And it seems that the field getting a little bit stretched out here. 2 of the closest drivers we had on track, Carl Hartwell had Ryan Tebow within a half second. Oh, a little bit of a tire dip there for Hartwell in that 79 machine. And that's going to give Tebow a chance to fire back here. Tebow closes the gap to within about 6/10. Hartwell up 1 spot from where he qualified the 79 machine. And while this is going on, looks like Christian Gritzko. Oh no, right as we pan the camera. Gritzko spins, Peterson gets into him. I think that's going to take them both out here. Oh, and there's bodywork flying everywhere. Peterson looks for an opportunity to rejoin, but I'm not quite sure what blew off both those cars, but a lot of bodywork went flying, and we've got front and rear wing on Gritsko. What about Peterson, who's right there behind him? Oh, Peterson, yeah, missing the front wing. We saw the parts go flying. And Peterson makes an overtake with Gritsko without any front aero. So I'm expecting Peterson and Gritsko will both box this lap. Now, if it is a simple repair, this is the sprint race. Maybe not necessarily the end of the world if they can get in and out, but definitely a possible race-ending moment as, oh, speaking of race-ending, Christian Gritsko wads up and finishes off the number 91 machine this sprint. Is hard on the brakes, just loses the back end. And around he goes. It looks to me like Peterson's going to stay out here. That's going to change things up at the top 5. Now it's Jaden Calloway, your race leader. Ray Aguilar second. AJ Brenner third. Stephen Lakota running fourth. But all eyes are on Carl Hartwell in the 79 machine as Ryan Tebow right in tow in the battle for fifth. Now these guys are about 2.25 seconds up over Andrew Neri in seventh, who's having a great race. Neri up 5 positions so far. But Hartwell looking for that top 5 finish, as now we've whittled it down to 14 drivers out on track. Oh, and a big bobble there from Hartwell. Tebow has a moment as well, trying to check up. Tebow looks like he's going to take over the 5th place spot, putting Hartwell behind him. Now here at League Zero, the Super Formula Series, if you take a tow back to pit road, you are done and out of that event. Now you can get back out on track for the feature event, which is to follow. And we've got a battle for third. Stephen Lakota, Simply Steve, the number 32 machine, is putting the pressure on AJ Brenner. Jace Meyer, we're getting a report. He's taking a tow back to pit road now. Lakota, Simply Steve at 32, a part-time entry here at League Zero. AJ Brenner sitting third in the number 80. He's your current points leader. So a little bit of an upset and unknown with Stephen Lakota. Let's see what happened to Jace Meyer. That's going to whittle it down to 13 drivers out on track. So Meyer, the purple and black number 20 machine. Oh, the exact same spot. I mean, almost identical skid marks. Loses the rear and absolutely pulverizes that machine against the front wall. And while Lakota was catching up to Brenner in third, looks like Aguilar slowly closing the ground to Jaden Calloway. We got E-Arch here. He's cheering on Carl Hartwell, who's having a great race in the 79. Aguilar's closed the gap within 0.9 of a second to Calloway. 5 laps left to go in this sprint race. Now I've got to say, as a broadcaster and race fan myself, very happy to see the change in format here. Running the sprint race first and then settling things down throughout the race. Has led to a little bit cleaner racing. Seen more attrition-based incidents instead of car-to-car contact. Now we're going to ignore the beginning of the race between Bianchi and McAllister. But so far, this format has definitely helped clean things up. The battle for third really heating up. Brenner trying to fend off Lakota. Brenner knows he needs every point he can get as Aguilar running strong up in second place. But he's got to be happy. At least it's his teammate Jaden Calloway holding on to that number 1 spot. Now Reed Gibson, who is tied for second in points, was not able to make it out here tonight. as Lakota putting the hammer down. Now in the sprint race, there is no mandatory pit stops. Once we get to the feature, drivers will have a mandatory tire stop, but you can see Brenner and Lakota both on the push to pass. And interesting to see Lakota taking a little bit more of a swooping line there, trying to build up as much speed as he can against Brenner. Brenner keeping him at bay about a quarter of a second ahead. So all eyes right now on the unknown, the bit of an underdog, Lakota, staying in the draft behind Brenner. We got Nick Beaver. He's cheering on Steve. Lakota has a lot of friends. Oh, and no, we just ran him with the old commentator's curse. Lakota with a self-spin. I was in the process of saying Lakota has a lot of friends from other racing series coming out in the spectator area cheering him on, but now he's going to lose his spot to the friendly Canadian Ryan Tebow. So gut-wrenching for Lakota, but good news for Tebow. That's going to be his third spot gained. Carl Hartwell's looking to take advantage of the situation, trying to make it his third spot. So the fan and commentator curse hitting hard for poor Lakota. Jane Calloway holding on to a comfortable lead, 1.3 seconds up over the rest of the field. 2 laps left to go. You can see Ray Aguilar behind. AJ Brenner out of frame. He's about a 7-second deficit to your race leader, Calloway. "13 drivers still out on track of the 20 who originally entered here today. And as a reminder to the fans, the finishing order in this sprint will set their running order for the feature. Peterson still running without a front wing. Extremely impressive here. He might lose his spot to David Iizzi and the number 29. Iezzi, excuse me. I'm impressed Peterson is A, still out on track, and B, holding good pace. He's only about 3 seconds off the fastest lap of the race, and with no front arrow in a car that is heavily dependent on it, having a good run, but now he's got Iezzi as well as Zanave, the Frenchman, right behind. And I'm not sure if they know what to do here. Peterson running some creative line choices to keep that car glued to the track. Having to rely on mechanical grip, and Peterson's definitely mashing the push to pass. Now Ray Aguilar in second has used up all of his, as Zanave takes a look to the inside line of Iezzi, backs out of it. You see a puff of smoke there from Peterson. A little bit too hard on the brakes. Now Peterson out of push to pass. Both Iezzi and Zanave using the button, looking for an opening. And Stephen Lakota has made his way back up into fourth, gaining the spot from Ryan Tebow. So Lakota definitely has the pace. Now he just needs the consistency. But if he can finish fourth here in the sprint race, that's going to put him in a really good starting position in the feature. And try and just kind of get all the mistakes out of the way early on here tonight. And the track's getting a little bit busier as Neri and Hartwell go side by side, trying to see who's going to win this battle. Neri, the 64, the black and gold. Hartwell, predominantly white car. And look at that, that's Shazi Zuhair joining the fray. White flag is out for Jaden Calloway. Oh, a big moment there for Neri, almost losing the back end. We've seen that corner take out several good drivers here tonight. Hartwell squeezed in between Neri and Zuhair. Zuhair within a quarter of a second of that 79 machine. Zuhair has no more push to pass available to him, but unfortunately Hartwell, with a self-spin, throws it away. Meanwhile, Nick Peterson has problems as well. It seems like he's glued to the wall. I mean, there's not many more parts that can fall off that machine. This is just kind of sad to watch. Let's see what happened to Peterson. I mean, he's got no front arrow. Yeah, and just loses the car, and around it goes. And he will take a tow back to pit road. A bit of a mercy ruling for that poor number 24 machine. It got really beat up here. Jaden Calloway makes his way around the back part of the track. One final chicane. And Jaden Calloway will pick up the win here. The opening sprint race to start the Japanese Grand Prix round number 3. Ray Aguilar secures second. And a point of note there, Calloway just set the fastest lap of the race, the final lap of the race. And AJ Brenner will round out the top 3. We're going to wait for the rest of the drivers to make their way to the celebration area and get those podium interviews started. So we've got Calloway, we've got Aguilar, and now we're just waiting on AJ Brenner. Looks like the gang is all here. And let's get things started with third place, Mr. AJ Brenner, a fellow two-wheel aficionado. AJ, it seemed like it was going to be a race of attrition in the sprint race here at Motegi.
Yeah, the tires were did not feel great. We're sliding around a bit, so I think it was just a matter of surviving and getting ready for the feature race.
Now, AJ, I mean, with as eventful as that race was in the sprint for some drivers, do you think that this new format, the sprint race first, can serve as a good kind of learning opportunity before we get into what could be a little bit calmer feature race?
Yeah, it's a nice little warm up. You know, you get used to the track, you get back to your pace, and then you can hop into the longer race and a little more strategy to it. So I think it's a good change. You know, as long as you don't get taken out on turn 1, then it's a pretty good time.
Well, fingers crossed. I know you've got a points lead to maintain. May be able to do it here. Gibson's out of town, and Aguilar did finish just slightly above you, but you got to be happy as well to be sharing the podium with a teammate here following the sprint.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Jaden has been just crazy fast in this track. That dude is just naturally quick. So just been kind of following around with him and trying to pick up some pace. So it's been a good time so far.
Well, AJ, always a pleasure talking to you. Before I let you go, get ready for the feature. Who do you want to give a shout to that helps make this podium possible for you?
I'm just going to get a shout out to my team, Squid Gang Racing. They're always on the background kind of helping out and making sure we all improve. So, yeah.
Awesome. AJ, always a pleasure, and hope to have you back up here in the feature, my friend.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. That was AJ Brenner bringing it home in third. Up next, the man, the myth, the legend, Ray Aguilar, bringing it home in the second place spot. But good points night, not too many incidents, and a fairly uneventful sprint race for you.
Yeah, pretty much. I didn't have the talent tonight to hang with Jaden. He's so quick, so I just tried to not crash. And you know, wasn't super long into the race. There was a big enough gap to where I could have just chilled out, but I was hoping he'd wad it up, but he didn't. He did an awesome job tonight.
Yeah, within 1 second, about that last 3/4 of the race. And now we had Brenner's perspective of how much cleaner things seem to be with this sprint race first and then feature event format. But kind of walk us through the opposite side of the fence. I mean, in the past, it was all the fast guys starting 10th, 11th, 12th, and everybody had the same traffic to manage. Now it seems like it's going to be a start based on raw pace to try and bring home a feature win.
Yeah, we're gonna have to. I don't know. We're just gonna have to be consistent, which is something we've always should have been trying to promote in the league, anyways. Is being consistent. You know, we've got the likes of Gary M in here who isn't as consistent as other drivers at times, and a lot of times that gets rewarded with the 12th place finish into the final sprint. So we don't have that anymore. The Gareth McAllister advantage is gone now.
Oh, so the McAllister claw is in full effect. It's like Santa Claus for Aussies. But, Ray, it's going to be interesting to see how this feature events. I mean, do you have anything left in the tank to try and challenge Callaway for this feature event?
Yeah, I'm going to change some settings. I'm going to get a better start that I don't jump this time. I actually jumped the start, but I caught it just in time. I don't know how I didn't get the flag, but I'm going to try to not jump the start, and hopefully I can get the jump on him, and maybe I can just slow him up long enough to stay behind me.
Awesome, Ray. Looking forward to watching the action. Before I let you go, get ready for the feature. Who do you want to give a shout to that helps make this second place possible for you and the team?
TGS doing an awesome job, and my teammate, Antonio Bianchi, doing an awesome job tonight, too.
Awesome, Ray. Always a pleasure, and hope to have you back up here later tonight.
Yep, see ya.
That was Ray Aguilar bringing it home in second, but right now the sprint race winner, Jaden Callaway. Jaden, we've been talking a bunch so far this season.
Yeah, we have. It's pretty nice being up here this often.
Yeah, this is sweet. I mean, it's the second win of the season. So far, the sprint races have definitely been your bread and butter. What's it going to take for you to get that first feature win of the season?
Just the same thing as always, just staying consistent. And now that we don't have the reverse grid, it should be coming soon.
Yeah, I mean, as obviously the fastest guy in the sprint race, you've got to be happy with that. You're starting on pole for the feature event. You don't have 11 other drivers to cut through, and maybe, I don't want to hit you with the commentator's curse, but might be able to avoid some of that turn one carnage we've seen in the past with that reverse grid.
Yeah, it should be interesting. I haven't raced in this format, but I think starting on pole, it'll help a lot. So I'm just going to try to get a clean start and cruise away.
Now, without giving too much away, we've seen some alternative strategies in the past on when you take tires. Any special game plan for tonight at Motegi, or are you just going to kind of see what the other racers are doing?
Well, we'll see what happens. That's all I'm going to say.
Awesome. Man, it's always a great time talking to you, Jaden. Before I let you go, get ready for this feature event. Who do you want to give a shout to that helps bring home the top spot, as well as sharing it with your teammate who got third?
As always, my friends and family who watch and support me, my teammate AJ, and my team Squid Game Racing.
Awesome. Jaden, always a pleasure, and hope to have you back up here, my friend.
Thank you.
That was Jaden Callaway bringing it home in first for the sprint race. He's accompanied by Ray Aguilar and AJ Brenner rounding out the top three. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with the feature event to cap off the night here at League Zero. All right, race fans, we are back. The feature event to cap things off here tonight. Drivers getting lined up on the grid. So again, the grid was set from the finishing result in the sprint. Jaden Calloway starting on pole. Ray Aguilar starts second. AJ Brenner starting third. Stephen Lakota starting fourth, looking for some redemption. Ryan Tebow starts fifth. Andrew Neri starting sixth. Shaji Zuhair starting seventh. Carl Hartwell starts eighth. Eric Fox starting 9th. David Iezzi starting 10th. Xavier Zanave starts 11th. Leo Delma starting 12th. Nick Peterson starting 13th. Jake Smyer starting 14th. Christian Gritzko starting 15th. Willie Morris starts 16th. Gareth McAllister starting 17th. And Antonio Bianchi will round out the 18-car grid here today as the lights get ready to go on. And we are underway. A little bit of a tire light up from Jaden Calloway, and already Eric Fox is going to be sent home early, I think. Problems off the start. We'll get the replay queued up here in a second to see what happened to Fox once the field settles down. This is twice the laps. 24 laps on the docket, or 45 minutes, whatever's going to come first. And once things calm down, as unfortunately Eric Fox has retired from the feature event. AJ Brenner taking a quick look at Ray Aguilar to see if he can work up into third. The points are going to be very, very close here tonight. Brenner came into this evening as the points leader, but Aguilar fires back. Let's see if we can figure out here what happened to Eric Fox from the start that sent him home early when he had so many fans. We go on our lap 0, League 0 drone cam. Ooh, that's rough. So that's going to be entirely a solo incident for Fox, a.k.a. our good friend Urko. Oh, and there goes Aguilar. Did Aguilar just get sent? It looked like a hard hit to the back, and he takes a tow. He was hard on the brakes. I'm not sure why that contact happened. Another incident with Gareth McAllister. Gonna be, looks like a solo incident so far. We saw a brief off track. And then, yeah, loops it all on his own. So may have had some dirt on the tires. Now Andrew Neri has moved up into fourth. AJ Brenner, I think he's got damage as Christian Gritzko makes his way around the field, kind of stacking up here from 5th place back. But Brenner is going to try, if he's got front end damage, I would expect him to come down pit road very early on. Go ahead and hit that mandatory pit stop. Try and get the machine fixed now instead of muscling through. I can't quite tell if Brenner still has the front wing completely on. It looks like it's missing. Try and get a side shot of that number 80 machine. Yeah, he's missing the front wing. Now we saw Nick Peterson slowly suffer through the sprint race. But Dylan Waldron, a good point. Yep, there goes Brenner down pit road. Ryan Tebow up into third here in that number 27 machine. He's having a great race. Now, we do not have live race control tonight. Our normal race control, Joseph Penn, actually at Road Atlanta this weekend, watching the Petit Le Mans. And this might have been one he needed to be at as we're watching intent battling all across the track. That is Nick Peterson trying to catch up to Leo Dalmas while also having company from David Iezzi as well as Xavier Zanave, Willie Morris. Now AJ Brenner got back out on track after 13 seconds. Let's take a quick peek. Looks like he was able to get the front wing clipped back on there. So hopefully nothing else damaged with that car for Brenner as he needs the points. I bet you Aguilar kind of kicking himself for taking a tow at this point. He could have still been in this. Trying to see who else may be in a good position here to gain a massive amount of points. Now Gareth McAllister also has come down pit road very early on. As Nick Peterson putting the pressure on Delmas. Now Jaden Calloway tonight, he was 6th in points. But with Aguilar being out, Gibson not being out on track. And what is this? Shazi Zuhair, Antonio Bianchi also down pit road very early on in the feature. So Callaway, if he can bring home another win, a back-to-back here tonight, he might very quickly be back in the points chase. Michael Fairchild also not on track. He's 4th in points. Antonio Bianchi 5th in points. Currently running 14th in the number 17 machine. William Morris looked like he was going to try and make a pass against the Frenchman Zanave and then backed out of it. But this is already very quickly becoming a race of attrition. As we've seen a lot of good drivers either involved in incidents or having to go home early. On board with Willie Morris in that 46 machine. He is watching Zanave trying to put the pressure and watch Zanave try and make a pass. Oh, I'm running out of words here. Against Iezzi. Andrew Neri comes down pit road very early, a bit of an undercut. Callaway, your race leader, clicks off another fastest lap of the race. Now in qualifying, we saw drivers get down into the 129. It's going to be interesting to see if Callaway can do that once more. And these drivers do have a mandatory tire stop in the feature event. We're on lap 5 out of 24. And very interesting to see drivers come down pit road so incredibly early. Oh, I just saw it briefly. Iezzi had an off-track excursion. That's going to allow Zanave to pull up alongside. Looks like Willie Morris wants a piece of the action. Zanave looks to the long way around, not able to have any luck. Goes for a bit of an undercut there to dive down low. Ends up dipping a couple tires into the grass. And that might see Willie Morris try and make a pass against the Frenchman. Zanave goes defensive in the 9th place spot, excuse me. Gonna be interesting here. Now Leo Delmas, the number 21 machine running 7th, has been able to put almost a 2-second gap over this 3-car 8th place battle. And, oh, something happened. Stephen Lakota, a big moment. Ryan Tebow with a massive send up the inside line. He saw 2nd place and said, I'm going to go for it. And I can also see Christian Gritzko not too far behind, but Tebow making moves here on the push-to-pass, pulling up alongside Lakota. A little bit of wheel-to-wheel contact. And Tebow, known for his manners, muscling out the part-time driver here. Both Lakota and Tebow on the push-to-pass. Gritzko following along, hasn't pressed the magic button just quite yet. Lakota fighting tooth and nail for the 2nd place spot, but a very fierce 3-car battle. I think Lakota's still on the push-to-pass. Lakota trying to put a bit of a gap here on Tebow, who's having to recharge the push-to-pass button. Basically, they've got a cooldown every time they hit it. Only 200 seconds allocated of total push-to-pass time. So Lakota trying to break away here from Tebow and maybe hope that Tebow and Gritzko get into a bit of a battle for 3rd. Because Jaden Callaway, he's in a race of his own right now in 1st. He's 10.5 seconds up over 2nd place Lakota. And Gritzko A relative newcomer here at League Zero. Looking for that podium. Grisco's completed 1 round at Red Bull Ring. Oh, Grisco, hold on to it, chases it up the track. Able to hold on to it. Man, that was a very hairy moment. Nick Peterson comes down pit road. And that is going to leave Lakota and Tebow to sort this thing out in the battle for second. Lakota was a little bit more liberal on the push to pass, but not enough to break away from Tebow. Now Grisco, to give him his credit, his second race here, his best finish so far was a 5th in the feature event at Red Bull Ring. So another one of those drivers that gets faster and faster, I think is going to be in the hunt for a podium in the very near future. Looks like we have a battle between Peterson and Bianchi. Peterson makes that an easy battle for the Italian stallion. Bianchi slides underneath as Peterson goes off track. AJ Brenner able to work his way up inside as well. Now Brenner only spent about 13 seconds in his pit stall. Compared to the green flag pit stops we saw out of Neri, Zuhair, Bianchi, they were all in their stalls for about 7 to 7.5 seconds. So that means Brenner is going to have bled almost full 6 seconds in his pit stall with the unexpected stop. I'm not sure how that's going to translate into this race, if a podium still possible for that 80 machine. As Lakota has put a very comfortable 1.8 second gap over Tebow. Tebow has Grisco closing the gap. Grisco able to overcome, and he is our hard charger so far. Up 11 positions so far in this feature event. Grisco, that 91 machine, keeping the pressure on Ryan Tebow. Underneath the Bridgestone Bridge, we saw so many drivers have instances they're losing the back end. And I love the onboard of these Super Formula machines. I believe it even shows these guys shifting. Yeah, very nice from iRacing, showing the downshifts and the upshifts. So right side, that is Christian Grisco clicking up gears. The left side is the downshift. You can see him working the hands. A very nice feature in addition. I don't believe we saw that in the Formula 3 cars. And Grisco all over the back of Tebow has closed the gap to within about 0.3 of a second. This is going to be the battle for third, that final podium spot. Now the top 10 drivers have yet to pit. The other 6 drivers out on track have already come down pit road, as Tebow is going to do everything he can to try and break the draft of Grisco, but I don't think he's going to have any luck with it here. Grisco mirroring that number 27 machine. Getting told by the fans, the shift animation, a new feature on this season of iRacing. As a broadcaster, I am a huge fan. I've never seen that before, and it is an extremely slick addition for both myself as well as the fans at home. Tebow trying to hammer down and put a bit of a gap on Grisco. You can see Steve Lakota 1.7 seconds ahead of this battle for third. Lakota has not been showing up often here at League Zero, but when he does, he always puts on a show. Very fast and talented driver. We've seen him do well in GT cars. We've seen him do well just about anything he races so far. So always great having Lakota out on track. Tebow recharging the push to pass. Grisco looking to catch back up here. A little bit of an accordion effect. Closes the gap, but now Tebow back on the push to pass. as Gritzko is recharging. So the fast blinking you see above the driver's cockpit is drivers that currently have push to pass activated. The slow blink that we were seeing, such as the case of Gritzko and now Tebow as well, is the push to pass on the cooldown period. Oh, a massive send from Gritzko. Locks up the brakes to avoid tagging the back right of Ryan Tebow's 27 machine. So Gritzko is hungry for a pass here, and we have another off-track excursion reported. Antonio Bianchi finds himself pointing the wrong direction. He loses his spot to longtime rival Peterson. Oh, I think he got help there. I think Peterson might have sent Bianchi around, so there's going to be some words in the paddock following this one. And we go back to that very heated battle for third. Tebow's up 2 spots. Gritzko up 11. Still, everybody in the top 10 has yet to complete their 1 mandatory stop. Now, Jaden Calloway, just in a different league at this point. We check in on the race leader, almost 15 seconds ahead of the nearest competition. Going to be interested to see how the green flag stops break down and maybe see if he's going to run into lap traffic at some point. Now there is, again, it's a mandatory tire change here. These drivers have enough fuel to make it till the end. So no issue there, but I think at this point, we've seen in the past, since Callaway didn't immediately go for the undercut, I think he's going to wait until the very last second to take tires, minimize the time he has to be on track with those cool tires, and almost use that lap as a throwaway, if you will. We do have another battle shaping up for 11th. It's Andrew Nary's 64 machine versus Shazi Zuhair's number 10. Both drivers down 5 spots when they originally qualified. So looking for a little bit of redemption. As I say that, Nary is not going to find it as he goes off track. And AJ Brenner's going to look for a way through. Side by side, Brenner and Nary. Nary fires back on the inside line, slowing the line of Brenner just slightly, but Brenner seems to, oh, that's what it is. The push to pass fully activated for Brenner. Quickly puts a gap on Nary. Oh, and a huge lockup. Nary's going to fire back without using the push to pass. Wheel to wheel they go in the battle for 12th. Nary with a little bit of mistake. Brenner capitalizes. Zuhair's got to be looking in the rearview mirror going, man, I'm glad not to be involved in this. And now Nick Peterson's going to join the fray. You can see Antonio Bianchi about a straightaway behind. And he's going to have a great view for this battle between Nary and Brenner. These guys were throwing haymakers at each other. Brenner's going to try and hammer down a little bit, see if he can put a bit of a gap here on Nary and focus on forward momentum instead of defending from behind. Oh no. Christian Gritzko, Ryan Tebow, both involved in an incident. That was the battle for third. See a little bit of a bobble there from Gritzko. It's going to be a tough one to assign blame there, I think. There's contact between the two. Let's see if we get another angle pulled up. I can't tell if Gritzko went for a pass that just wasn't ever going to happen, or if that was two drivers just occupying the same position at the same time. Carl Hartwell coming down pit road for his one and only scheduled green flag stop as we have passed the halfway mark. Jaden Calloway has taken the crossed green and white flag, signifying the halfway. Tebow and Gritzko, once they got things going the right direction, right back at it. Tebow definitely a fan favorite out here tonight. Gritzko, the underdog, only his second race here at League Zero. And it looks like Tebow lets him by. I'm very perplexed. I didn't see a moment that would have given Tebow a big slowdown. But he is very quickly dropped back, almost 2 seconds behind Gritzko. I mean, Tebow goes off track. And things are getting worse for the number 27 machine. I don't see any noticeable damage on that thing. Let's see if he opts to come down pit road, because he's going to lose a spot here, I think, to Willie Morris in the 46. Gritzko comes down pit road. Let's see if Tebow does the same. Yes, Tebow down pit road. So let's see what happened to cause Tebow to go off track. I hate to say this. I think Tebow tried to go down the wrong pit lane. So Tebow, Gritzko, Zanave all on pit road. The top 5 opting to stay out. That's Callaway, Lakota, Delmas, Morris, and Meyer. As well as David Iezzi running 6th, number 29. He's going to stay out. So Jaden Callaway now has made it about an 18-second advantage. He is 30 seconds up over third place Leo Delmas. And AJ Brenner continued to charge through the field here. Has caught up to the back of Shazi Zuhair as well as David Iezzi. Brenner looks to the inside of Zuhair. Not quite able to make it happen. Nick Peterson still watching this party unfold. Oh, this is definitely in the vortex of danger here. You've got Iezzi, Zuhair, Brenner, Peterson, and a very tight pack. Third place Leo Delmas comes down pit road. Any little mistake here could ruin several drivers' nights. Willie Morris down pit road for his one and only stop. And Andrew Neri back in the hunt here as well. So besides David Iezzi, everybody else in this pack has already come down pit road for their mandatory tire stop. And Brenner and Zuhair side by side, wheel to wheel. Peterson and Neri looking for an opening, not quite able to find it. 9 laps left to go in this feature event. Oh, Peterson looks like he gets pushed a little bit wide. Might have made contact there between himself and Neri. Neri, another one of those underdogs this season. Starting to race more often here at League Zero after we've made the switch to Super Formula. Let me interrupt that thought. Jaden Callaway, the race leader, down pit road a little bit earlier than I would thought. 9 laps left to go. He opts to come down pit road. I thought he was going to maybe hold this thing out till the end. Oh, who was that? That was David Iezzi. Oh, and a terrible rejoin. Oh, absolutely dismal. I'm trying to see who else was involved in that. That was Antonio Bianchi. So let's back that one up a little bit. So I want to say I spoke too early. I thought it was a questionable rejoin. No, it 100% was. So that was Antonio Bianchi. I'm trying to see the other driver involved in that one. Maybe Nick Peterson. So Andrew Neri. Oh, Neri had his own incident, I think. Let's see what happened to Neri that involved him taking a tow back to pit road. Oh, wheel-to-wheel contact. And Neri just gets caught up in it. So that was an incident with Neri and Peterson involved. So they're dropping like flies out here, ladies and gentlemen. The stewards will be busy following today's main event with 8 laps left to go. Lakota, aka Simply Steve, down pit road. And David Iezzi quickly throwing a virtual hand out the window and walking up to race control, already apologizing to the other drivers for that incident. So well done to Iezzi. Nothing but friends here at the League Zero Super Formula Series. Lakota back out on track. Jaden Calloway, your race leader. He came down pit road on lap 15. He's showing about 19 seconds ahead of Lakota. Shazi Zuhair, a bit of an unknown here. So Zuhair holding on to third, but he's got a 1.4 second advantage over AJ Brenner, who is hungry for redemption. Involved in that early incident, well towards the back of the pack. Now let's see another battle going on. The battle for 6, Carl Hartwell versus Gareth McAllister. McAllister lagging behind by about 4/10. Both drivers have push to pass available, but both trying to do it without, or trying to either increase the gap in the case of Hartwell or decrease the case of McAllister, while saving that push to pass a little bit towards the end. The laps will start winding down here. McAllister trying to make a move here. Bit of a bobble there, trying to catch it. That might give Hartwell, yes, Hartwell gets about a 10th back in his favor. McAllister really looking for an opening here. Pushes wide, dips some tire in the grass. But looks like he's going to be able to make it as they're swerving back and forth. McAllister takes over the 6th place spot. That's going to make him our hard charger, up 11 positions. And looking on the live timing, we have whittled it down to 12 drivers on track at this point. Still cleaner than races we've seen in the past, to give them their credit. As McAllister starting to hammer down, pulling about an 8th, 9th, 10th gap over Hartwell. But let's go back up to AJ Brenner, who sits in 4th. He is slowly closing the gap to Shazi Zuhair. I mean, if Brenner's able to bring home a podium after such a rough opening start to this feature event, that's going to be extremely impressive. Meanwhile, race leader Jaden Calloway once again sets the fastest lap of the race on 1:30.11, as he is 23 seconds ahead of his nearest competition. Captain CK, a little bit of word play in the spectator area. Always appreciated. Now Zuhair I believe this would be his first League Zero podium if he can make this happen. His highest finish so far this season is a 5th. That was back at Spa on September 14th. I'm going to try and get his long-term results here. Now, Zuhair did have a 3rd last season at the Hungaroring, but he would love to make it his 2nd podium. But AJ Brenner wants those points here. He needs them tonight. Now, he got a little bit of reprieve with Aguilar being involved in an early incident. Aguilar was probably the closest competition to take over the points lead, as Gibson and Fairchild both out tonight. Not able to make it. Antonio Bianchi forced into a very early retirement. He's going to finish P16. And it's a shame Lakota's not running a full season here, as he runs second 5 seconds up over this battle between Zuhair and Brenner. And keep an eye out Christian Gritzko. The newcomer, we know he's got pace, just needs to kind of string things together. Starting to close that gap to Zuhair and Brenner. If Brenner and Zuhair end up slowing the pace down battling, Gritzko has a very good chance of a podium here tonight. 3 laps left to go. The 3rd and final Japanese Grand Prix of the season. Now, if I was Brenner, I would try and quickly get around Zuhair and try and let Zuhair and Gritzko battle it and slow the pace down there. But, I mean, Zuhair doing a fantastic job defending that 3rd place spot. There is a little bit of lap traffic ahead. That is 12th place Leo Delmas, number 21 machine. And Gritzko really keeping the pressure on Brenner. That's allowing Zuhair to extend his gap very slightly to about a 7/10 advantage. This is exactly what Zuhair was looking for. He wants Brenner and Gritzko to keep battling. As Zuhair has extended that gap to, it was briefly up to 9/10 of a second. Now everybody still has push to pass available. Only one driver out on track, Xavier Zanave, running 8th, has used up the full allotment. Now Callaway, unless he has a big incident with lap traffic or a very uncharacteristic moment, he's looking good here to make it a back-to-back finish. We hear Ryan Tebow needs a montage. Well, let's see if we can get that one fired up. Now, so far this season, nobody has been able to bring home a win in a feature and a sprint. It would be the perfect hat trick as well if Callaway setting the fastest lap time. Now, we had the fans request an update on Ryan Tebow. Still running down 6 positions in that number 27 machine. We're not quite sure what happened to him. They had a very lengthy pit stop as well, 49 seconds in the stall, while most drivers are running 7 to 7.5 seconds. But Tebow out here for a little bit of redemption. Now you see a driver right behind him. That is actually Jaden Callaway, the race leader in the 37 machine. So Tebow will see the blue flag. You see him hopping off the preferred race line. And that is basically the virtual friendly hand out the window, a bit of a wave saying, hey, I see ya. Come on by, I don't want to hold you up. Now Gritzko has fallen back slightly from Brenner. Brenner has caught up to Shazi Zuhair. It was within a quarter of a second with just 2 laps left to go. Callaway up front. once again sets the fastest lap of the race with clean air on the front wing of that 37. White flag will be out next time by for Callaway. Let's see if Brenner is going to get a big send going on here. Zuhair using the push to pass to try and keep Brenner at bay. A little bit of strategy. Oh, and Brenner a bit of a bobble there. It doesn't look like much, but any 10th he loses to Zuhair is also another 10th gain for Christian Gritzko. Zuhair pulls the gap to a half-second advantage. Gritzko about 7/10 behind Brenner. But things seem to be calming down a little bit here. Brenner running out of time to try and track down Zuhair. Hopefully Brenner thinking of championship implications here as the white flag is thrown for Jaden Callaway. Almost 30 full seconds, and again another fastest lap of the race for Callaway. A 1:29.39, blistering fast out here. And look at that, Brenner and Gritzko side by side, a little bit of contact, more contact. They are beating and banging, and that is not normally what you see in open wheel race cars, especially formula machines. And I think I just saw Christian Gritzko throw it away there. Might have been driving a little bit of red mist in the eye, but man, he was squarely up in the mix. He immediately gets on the push to pass because you can see Gareth McAllister looking for a top 5 here. What a wild night it has been. So let's pan back up front. Callaway's got less than a quarter of a lap left to go, a 32-second advantage. I need to check as well to see if he qualified on pole. I mean, that would be a perfect race as the checkered flag is thrown for Callaway. And it is going to be a dominant win here tonight. Just a dominant night for Callaway. So Callaway brings home the win. We're going to pan back to Steven Lakota, who's got a quarter of a lap left to go, a.k.a. Simply Steve in the 32. We don't want to call any results yet until these guys cross the line. We've seen some crazy things happen here at League Zero. It looks like I think Ryan Tebow may unfortunately have... Oh no, I think AJ Brenner had some sort of incident. Stephen Lakota finishes second, Shazi Zuhair finishes third. AJ Brenner has come down pit road. I think Brenner served a drive-through. So Brenner had to serve a drive-through on the final lap. He falls back to 6th. So it's going to be Callaway, Lakota, and Zuhair, your top 3 here tonight. We're going to try and get these drivers up here into the waiting room. We've got Callaway. And man, what a wild night here. The Japanese Grand Prix, the fans came out, the drivers came out, and just a wild show from start to finish. Let's go ahead and get this interview session started. We'll start things off with Shazi Zuhair bringing home a third in that number 10 machine. Shazi up 4 positions from where you started. A wild race and your second ever League Zero podium. Got to be happy with how this broke down here tonight.
James, man, it's good to hear your voice again there. But yeah, extremely happy. There were some lucky circumstances there with some fast guys getting taken out in front. But yeah, overall, extremely happy to be third again.
I mean, consistency is key. You're getting faster and faster. We're seeing you get more and more consistent every time you're out on track. What's been the secret here to your good fortune the last few races?
I think honestly, with this league, the output is how much effort you put in, right? So like, I put a lot of practice in this week for this race, and I think it paid off.
Well, it seemed like it did, and like you said, it was a lot of fast drivers had big problems. But what was your game plan coming here to the feature event? Was it to keep the nose clean and let the cards fall as they were? Was it to push hard, or did you have a game plan?
Honestly, my game plan was just not to get into any incidents like the last couple races. I had some incidents in there. My fault as well, mostly. So just trying to stay clean, pick whatever places I can, and it just turned out into a podium. So I'm extremely happy with that.
Well, Shazi, it's good to have you back up here in the booth, my friend. Another great finish, the second podium. Hopefully more to come. And before I let you go, sign off and celebrate. Who do you want to give a shout out to that helps make it happen for you?
Huge shout out to you, James, for putting in the effort for all these broadcasts and all the other leagues that you do as well. And then also to the guys at League Zero there. Extremely competitive group and really fun to race against. So yeah, thank you guys.
Couldn't do it without you. Congratulations, my friend, and hope to have you back up here more this season.
Thanks, man. Have a good one. Appreciate it.
Thank you, sir. That was Shazi Zuhair finishing in third. Up next, a man of few words but says a whole lot sometimes. Welcome back, Steve Lakota. Simply Steve. Up into another podium. You don't race here often, but when you do, man, you're setting the world on fire.
Yeah, I mean, happy to be here. Didn't Airco kind of asked me like, "Hey, you racing tonight?" And I initially wasn't, and then he asked me, so that convinced me to come back. So,
well, Steve, your second full night racing here. Your second of the season, second podium of the season. And Steve, I've watched you even in races I don't broadcast. I watch the action. I mean, you're racing at least 3 different cars that I know of in different leagues. How tough is the transition between all of them to try and get ready for some of these races?
yeah, that's a good question. I mean, I think there are some things that are the same, and there's things that are different. I mean, that's a non-answer. Like for me, the front end of this car, like the grip of the front axle, doesn't really make a lot of sense to me yet. But yeah, I don't know. I think just consistent inputs, like trying to not upset the car. I don't practice. Like this is the second night in the car for me, in the Super Formula. So this is the least familiar to me, and I haven't spent a great deal of time in like a super fast Formula car. So this is the least familiar to me. But yeah, just consistent inputs, keeping things smooth, and not locking up all the usual suspects.
Well, Steve, if you start putting in a little bit of practice, maybe even just a couple laps before, are we going to see that 32 machine on the top spot of the podium by the end of this season?
We'll see. I mean, I think it's also the track combo. Like I know twin ring Motegi a little bit. Like I've done a race here before in the LMP2. But yeah, I think it's a combination of putting in some time and knowing the track, and then maybe we'll get up there.
Well, Steve, it's always a lot of fun watching your race. I mean, no matter what car you're in, you're a super likable guy, quick on the track. So, got to be pumped with a second, a career best finish here at League Zero. Before I let you celebrate with the rest of the hooligans that are all watching and cheering you on, who do you want to give a shout to that helped make this podium possible for you?
It's a singular shout out to Airco.
He's a legend, isn't he?
Yep, just a singular shout out to Airco. Don't know what happened in the future, but hopefully everything's cool.
Awesome. Steven, always a pleasure, my friend. Hope to have you back up here in the future, and thank you as always for your time.
Hey, thanks. Happy to be here.
Thank you, sir. That was Steven Lakota, a.k.a. Simply Steve, in the second place spot. But a man who's getting the interviews in this season, Jaden Calloway, first driver to make it back-to-back wins in a race. And correct me if I'm wrong, but did you also qualify on pole here tonight?
I did.
All right, so I mean, I don't think you can ask for a better race. You qualified on pole. You won in the sprint. Did you have the fastest lap time in the sprint?
I believe so, yes.
So fastest time in the sprint. You won the feature event and also had the fastest lap time in the feature event. You literally can't ask for a more perfect night here at League Zero.
Yeah, I'm happy with this one. There was pretty much no mistakes and had perfect races, so really happy with that.
So it's going to be a huge points night for you in that 37 machine. I mean, we have guys such as Gibson, Fairchild, who didn't race tonight, Aguilar had problems. Your teammate Brenner had problems. All of a sudden, you could very well be back in championship contention here this season.
Yeah, it's definitely possible. Just have to keep this momentum up.
Now, as stressful as it gets, and I know tonight was a little bit less stressful starting in the top spot in the feature and enjoying a whole lot of clean track, but are you still having fun when you're so hyper-focused on performing well out here?
Yeah, definitely. I enjoy this car. I enjoy this track. So even if I'm not side by side the whole time, I'm still enjoying myself.
And Jaden, my final question for you. You kept the cards close in the interview following the sprint race around the regarding the pit strategy. We saw you came down pit road on lap 15, I believe it was. I personally was expecting you to come down pit road much later in the race, around lap 20 to 22 maybe. What was the reason for the pit strategy and the lap choice you came in?
Well, so far this season, it seems like pitting earlier has been the best strategy. So I had such a big lead, though. I said I was going to pit when the guys behind me did. So I went as long as I thought was okay, and then I ended up coming in a little late.
Boy, it
But
worked out. Yeah, it worked out extremely well for you. I mean, a commanding 33-second gap on the rest of the field. I don't know what the term is for better than hat trick. Hat trick times 2 maybe, but able to pull it off. A lot of fun to watch. I know the fans were even commenting of how a dominant performance you put on. So a lot of fun for us, broadcasters and race fans alike. And Jaden, you've got the privilege, the pleasure, the final send-offs of the night. Who do you want to give a shout to that helps make that happen?
As always, my friends and family watching and supporting, my teammate AJ, and my team Squid Gang Racing.
Jaden, always a pleasure, my friend. Congratulations on a perfect night, and hope to have you back up here even more for the rest of the season.
Hope to be back. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. That was Jaden Calloway bringing it home in the top spot. A perfect night. Qualified on pole. Won the sprint race. Fastest lap of the sprint race. Won the feature. And fastest lap of the feature. Couldn't ask for more. In the feature event, he was accompanied by Steven Lakota as well as Shazi Zuhair. On behalf of Team Goon Squad Broadcasting as well as LeagueZero.net, my name has been James East. Thank you all so much for spending your Thursday night with us, and I'll see you at the next one. Have a great night, everybody.